Hi guys, before getting into our logo, let's get familiar with Adobe Illustrator. So we're going to do a basic run through of the software on this lecture, so in case you came here with some knowledge of some of the tools and functions of the software, you can skip this lecture, but I highly recommend you go through it. So let's get right to it. So after you've opened up Illustrator, you should see this interface right in front of you. Here I'm using Illustrator CC 2018. We're going to go ahead and create a new document by clicking on Create New. As you can see, there are multiple templates here with given dimensions. You can use these to speed up your workflow if you know what type of artwork you're creating. For now, we're going to customize our own work area. So we're going to call the file Introduction and keep the dimensions however it is. We want our color mode to be RGB and raster effects at high. Next, we're going to click on Create. So this is our workspace. To make sure we're looking at the same things, we want to click on the top button over here and click on Essential Classic. Now you should have a similar looking workspace as mine. So on the left panel here, we're looking at our basic tools, and on the right panel, we're looking at various types of tools and functions which will help us getting into the nitty-gritty of various types of actions. So on this lecture, we are only going to look at the tools and functions that we need for the logo designs. So to begin, let's first make a shape so we have an object to play around with and see how some of the tools are going to work. In order to do that, we're going to select the rectangle tool by clicking on the icon or pressing M, and then click and drag to make a rectangle. As you can see, it's a white rectangle with black borders for now. So we're going to change the color to something more visible by double clicking on the swatch here and change the color. Next, we're going to click on the stroke options here and click on the no stroke swatch to get rid of the black stroke. So there are two types of selection tool on Illustrator. There's a selection tool which you can select by pressing V. It's just basically to select an object and move it around. And then there's the direct selection tool, which will allow you to select points of various vector objects and move around the individual points, or you can click and drag to select multiple points to move those around. Next, we're going to look at our type tool, which is very basic. You can select it by pressing T or clicking the type tool icon here. You can either drag a box to type and keep your text within a specific area, or just click anywhere and start typing. That's pretty basic. Now we're going to look at one of the most important and useful tool in Illustrator. It's the pen tool, which we activate with the shortcut P. With the pen tool, we can draw straight or curved lines and points on any paths we want. This tool is vital in bringing sketches to life in vector format. You click on one point to start the path and click on another point to continue. If you click, hold, and drag, you can make curves. It takes a bit of practice to master this tool, but it's really useful. Next up, we're going to look at the shapes, which we covered at first, but let's look at it a bit more since we'll be using it a lot. So in order to make shapes, we click on the shape icon here. It will show you the last shape you chose to make. If you want to look at other options, you just need to click and hold on the icon for it to reveal it. So let's go ahead and create a circle now. Now guys, I want you to pay attention to the shortcut we're going to use right now, which is holding Shift and Alt while making shapes, which will give you a perfect circle right now, or a square if you have the rectangle tool selected. It's important to know this because we're going to need a lot of perfect circles and squares in our future lectures. Next, we're going to look at the shape builder tool, which very basically lets you connect two shapes together into one shape. So we're going to combine this circle and this rectangle here. So we're going to select both of these and just drag a line between them with our shape builder tool selected. There you go, we have a new individual shape. Now we can do something more with this. We're going to press Ctrl Z to undo the shape building. Now while dragging the line, if you press Alt, you can actually get rid of the shapes or a shape that was formed between them and modify your shapes. This will really come in handy later into the course. Finally, we're going to look at the gradient tool. So you can apply gradients to your objects, which is basically a mesh between multiple colors. Now you'll see there are two icons on the right and left panels for gradient. So in order to apply a gradient, you need to click on the gradient tool here on the right panel. And you can select a gradient from the list right here. So let's try out the purple and orange gradient. Then you can add or modify the colors that are here by double clicking on the swatches that you see here. And then you can get rid of one or two of the colors by clicking and dragging them out of the meter. Or you can add a new swatch by bringing your cursor close to an existing swatch and simply clicking when you see a plus sign within your cursor. Also, you can change the direction of your gradient by selecting either linear or radial. And the gradient tool on the left panel basically lets you adjust the area of your gradient on your object. So we can select the gradient tool here, and by clicking and dragging we can bring up a meter according to our liking and adjust it however we want it to look like. So that's it for now, guys. This has been a great warm-up session. Now we're ready to get to the logo design. I'll see you on the next one.